hundreds of thousands of eons after Lucifer introduced sin to heaven, an unprecedented day arrived when all the countless angels across the universe were called to assemble before the Father. It took decades for the dispersed angels across the galaxies to receive the summons and journey back to the majestic Zion Grand Court. This call was unlike any other, being the most significant and far-reaching grand subpoena in history up to that point. The fallen angels made their way to the colossal gyroscope city, with God seated in the middle as the judge. The angels were organized into divisions, each with a higher commanding angel leading them. Countless starships poured into the docking stations, creating a bustling atmosphere filled with anticipation for what was to transpire in heaven. Celestials of every species took their seats and platforms, while a continuous stream of individuals made their way from their space shuttles. Once everyone settled, the resounding voice of the Almighty seized the attention of all present. Millions of high-ranking cherubim stood and radiated their light, signaling the imminent arrival of the monarch of the universe. The books were opened and the judgment was set. Michael made his way to the central platform with his special forces of elite celestials. Lucifer arrived with his grandiose envoy of starships and rebel forces. A panoramic vision enveloped the entire audience, providing a brief overview of the history and crimes committed by the fallen angels. The bailiffs, standing as colossal titans, beckoned Lucifer and his legal team to present their case before all of heaven. For several years, Lucifer and his legal team argued their case, while holy prosecutors presented their arguments against the fallen angels. It took several decades for the heavenly deliberation to conclude, considering every argument presented by the rebels. The heavenly jury, in every sector and island of heaven, found that Lucifer was unjustified in his actions, and therefore was worthy of eternal expulsion from Zion's celestial limits. Then Satan exultingly pointed to his sympathizers, comprising nearly half of all the angels, and exclaimed, "These are with me." Lucifer's followers and sympathizers stood up in solidarity, shocking some of the loyal angels who discovered their close friends were secretly Luciferian. Meanwhile, Lucifer defiantly shouted, "Will you expel these also, and make such a void in heaven?" He then declared that he was prepared to resist the authority of Christ and defend his place in heaven by the might of his strength against strength. The eternal judge spoke and said to all the rebels, "The gates to the tree of life are closed to you, and your names is blotted out from the book of life. You are no longer citizens of heaven, but wanderers in the void, with no hope of redemption or salvation. The gates of heaven are closed to you, and you shall wander forever in the abyss of your own making." In the hushed aftermath of the heavenly decree, a stunned silence gripped the fallen angels. Shock reverberated through their ranks, eclipsing their disbelief. Privileges had been stripped before, but eternal expulsion from heaven? This was an unimaginable blow, one that plunged them into an abyss of despair. As the weight of God's verdict settled upon their souls, the fallen ones grappled with a new reality. For Lucifer, the once defiant leader, were lost for words. His gaze looked away from sight of the loyal angels, now mourning like a mother lamenting her dead child. He looked to his followers, who stood shattered and lost, their faces etched with a torment that no rebellion could have prepared them for. This morning star was embarrassed. He didn't think it would come to this. "Save us!" some of the fallen angels cried out, their voices laced with desperation. "We can change. We will change," they whimpered, their pleas echoing through the celestial chambers. Yet even amidst the chorus of supplication, the bitter truth loomed large. There would be no salvation, no redemption. It was too late for them. Even the most unrepentant rebel, the one who had laughed in the face of divine authority, now hung his head in shame. The clowny lunatic whose laughter had once echoed through the halls of heaven now stood silent, his painted smile a mere facade masking the depths of his desolation. The desolate wails of the fallen mingled with the heavy silence marking the finality of their fate. As the gravity of their irreversible condemnation sunk in, the once prideful among them now found themselves stripped of their bravado, reduced to mere shadows of their former celestial glory. It was a moment of profound reckoning, where the fallen angels faced the unalterable consequences of their rebellion. And no amount of weeping or empty promises could undo the eternal decree that had been cast upon them. Lucifer regained his composure. He tilted his head up, and his eyes met Michael the Archangel's with a burning hatred that seemed to transcend millennia. The tension in heaven reached its breaking point as Lucifer thundered his declaration of war. "You think you can banish us so easily, Michael? This is just the beginning. Prepare for war." Lucifer's words resonated with a chilling intensity. All heaven erupted in chaos. As the fallen angels and the holy angels clashed, the battlefield became a nightmarish vision of technology run amok. The sky was filled with explosions and the sound of engines as advanced weaponry unleashed a devastating barrage. The clash of the celestial titans was deafening, reverberating through the corridors of paradise. Each blow struck an emotional chord, resonating with the ancient memories of a time when unity prevailed over discord. The ground shook as missiles and energy weapons blasted the landscape, leaving nothing but craters and wreckage in their wake. The air was filled with the stench of burning angelic flesh and the disgusting smell of destruction, and the screams of the Celestials in agony were drowned out by the roar of battle. As the battle raged on, the magnificent cities of heaven were devastated by the fallen angels' assault. Energy beams and advanced weaponry tore through structures that had stood for eons, and great highway structure were laid low by the fury of the battle. The fallen angels seemed intent on wreaking as much destruction as possible, even as the holy angels fought with all their might to defend their celestial homes. The holy angels, their eyes ablaze with the fervour of righteousness, refused to cower in the face of darkness. With tears streaming down their radiant faces, they fought with an unwavering determination, their hearts heavy with the burden of banishing their brethren. In a display of defiance, the fallen angels launched their fleet of spacecrafts, each vessel gleaming with an ominous purpose as they fanned out across the vast expanse of heaven's celestial countries. Roaring through the ethereal skies, their space jets left fiery contrails across the heavens. Their formation took shape above the heart of Zion, heaven's capital, where the colossal tree of life stood. The fallen angels, their faces contorted with desperation and anger, aimed to steal its precious fruits. Explosions of light and celestial fire painted the sky as magnetic shields surrounding the tree of life deflected the evil onslaught. With a determined resolve, the holy angels fiercely defended their sacred charge. The moments of painful impact knocked them unconscious, reviving the memory of a time when harmony had prevailed among the heavenly brethren. Amidst the chaos, thousands of fallen angels, driven by desperation, attempted to burrow through the burning false shield. Their flesh seared in agony, they fought on, their determination rivaling the intensity of their celestial jets' fiery propulsion. Yet the holy angels, resolute in their duty, held fast, their celestial might overwhelming the fallen angels' tortured attempts. The heavens quaked with the intensity of this emotional battle, a reflection of the profound loss of unity and the despair that had driven the fallen angels to such extremes. With a heavy heart, a lone angel cast a tearful glance at the once harmonious heavens, longing for the days when all angels had dwelled together in peace. As the war stretched into years, the very essence of heaven seemed to tremble with the weight of the struggle. However, Lucifer and his comrades knew the end was near. The turning point arrived when the fallen angels, exhausted and outmatched, could no longer outgun the loyal angels.